Well, hello. This is your host, Eric of GMODISM, and we're back here with some very interesting stuff. The camera has an update. So, if you go into Designer, the camera will be all weird. So this is a little introductory tutorial on how you can use the camera nowadays. The camera update is in alpha right now. And it will, of course, reach public view or public update in a couple of weeks or something, most likely. Now, it's quite likely that the controls will change slightly, but this is what it is in the most basic part. And some things, they are talking about changing the tabbing a little bit for the official release. But in this little video, we're just going to cover the basics, right? Anyways, welcome if you haven't seen on this channel before, and dude, like everyone that has played this game before thinks this camera is really unused, because, you know, having 2.2 hours in the game, I think I had, makes it a little bit hard to get used to it. But anyways, this is just a little easy tutorial on how to get this going. So let's go. You can see here, the mouse is free now. So we'll have to click on middle mouse button to get free look mode. And now we can look around here in a pretty normal way, right? You might notice that the hood is a little bit different. And you might notice if you press tab, where is Rambot? You don't. Where is Rambot? Where is it? Where is it? So this is something that's pretty interesting that has changed here. If we click tab, we're kind of locked on top of the vehicle in a little free lock mode of sorts, which is a little bit unusual. And we can zoom in and zoom out. So you can see we now have an orbit. So if I'll just lock here, or if I'm just free, I can now scroll in or just do like that. So when you scroll, you actually use the zoom key. You know, before we had a binoculars, a weapon thing you could equip, and then you could zoom in using mouse button 1 and 2, zoom in and out. And that was obviously a really useless system, and I don't know why they kept it so long. This is gone. It's not coming back. So now you have that just built in to every camera. You can just zoom in, and when you're zooming in, you're on there. And if you lock onto a camera point like this, when you press tab, I'm gonna show you how to set up everything, so don't worry. When you have watched this video, you will understand how it works. So you just rotate around this point, right? And if you zoom in, you can see we can zoom in 10 times. This is basically the old binoculars max zoom mode. It's just much easier to operate. And then we can have an orbit distance of 500 meter tops, which should be enough for anything sensible you could build. Right, so to get a little hang of this, like, don't just click around, you'll panic. Take it calm, take it easy, and do some studies. Basically, you go into options, and here you have key mapping, right? So this is a little thing that changed in key mapping, and you go down here. And don't get too intimidated, but this is the camera menu. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It will take some time to get used to, but to this new system's defense, if it may feel unusual, it doesn't matter. To the system defense, it's so much better than the old one. It was really, really bad. You'll have to admit it was really bad. Yes, you may have learned it, but it was bad. So here you can see we got a control and caps lock, and you know, the old lock onto target buttons, they still exist here. And then you may have noticed we have a lot of keypad buttons, right? And they also have a video recording mode built into from the depth now, which you can activate on Control K. Now I have an external software, so I turned off mine. But one thing you should set up is you can see there is something called toggle camera smoothing here. This is not assigned by default. I set it up to my pad's comma key, so I can access it from there. Be careful so you don't set up duplicates. And here we have different camera control buttons. And again, I'm going to show you this. So, what about Rambot? Well, Rambot is namely so that we can just go to FreeCam and we can spawn them, right? So, if you just click Shift and G, and clicking Shift and G spawns the good old Rambot. So here we have a third-person camera too, which is something you can select if you want to have on and off. So Shift Y, as in Yggdrasil, you can just go to first-person mode and third-person mode. So that makes a lot of sense, and Rambot is moving around like this as usual. If you click Tab, you get free cam, and if you click Tab again, you'll lock onto a vehicle camera, right? So, and if you felt that, now I don't want to have Rambot here anymore, you can just Shift G, and you will unceremoniously execute the robot and discard it, basically. Isn't that very kind? And based on the From the Depth artwork, there is actually a person inside of the Rambot. So make sure that you light a candle every time you, so to say, despawn the Rambot, okay? Just out of respect, you know. Yeah, this is actually really weird, but there we have it, I guess. That's how it is nowadays. Okay, let's actually start this tutorial a little bit properly here. So basically, how do you use this camera, right? You left click on a vehicle and you will focus on it. So if I'll do like this, go to free cam mode and stuff like that, and I'll click on this vehicle, or it's already selected. There, now we're in free cam mode. We can just move around here. We're not part of this vehicle, blah, blah, blah. And you aim at this vehicle, you can see GMODISM Industries platform. Probably can't see that. If you left click, you're now focusing on this vehicle. Isn't that pretty cool? So when you have a left click on a vehicle, you are focusing on it. And the really cool thing here, now Rambot is optional. You can have the Rambot. You cannot have the Rambot. It, doesn't actually really matter if you have them or not. But you can just then click left control. And if you click left control and have a vehicle controller somewhere on the structure, you can actually drive this thing. And now we don't use any weird keys. We can actually drive this thing using WASD like all the other games. Very handy like this. And if I were to right click, I also control the weapons. We don't happen to have any weapons on this thing, but just clicking right click like that, controlling, like that, not controlling. And then I could actually shoot them using just regular left mouse button like any other game. And if you click left control again, you stop driving it. And even if you drive it, you can, of course, look around freely like that. It will probably just give you a basic start position, right? You can stop driving there. You can see we can move around to a point here, actually, and like start driving it. So we are not locked to any specific position if we don't want to have it like that, that is. I'm just gonna spawn in some more vehicles so that we can like properly check the cameras, right? So we're just going to have a bunch of different vehicles. Especially, I want a little bit of a... No, not that one. I think I want a... there it is. The real class light cargo cruiser. We're going to have that one. And also, my most erratic airplane. There we go. And now we can see we are on this camera here. Okay, we don't quite like that. So what do? We click tab and we can cycle. Now we're here. And we just click tab. I'm doing nothing right now. The only thing I'm doing is just clicking tab. And I'll cycle through different vehicles here. To be a little bit more specific, right? I'll just left click and we are on read class and I just look away. I just move around here. So we move away from it. We're still locked to it. I can then click on this vehicle. We're on the fortress. Okay. I can't, aim at the proper direction here. So I just hold space and I'll move up here. And you can see I don't even aim on the aerobics properly. I'll just need to be in its vicinity. I'll just point and click. And now I'm controlling this one. And we go to the croquette here. We go very easily like that. So it's actually pretty easy to switch the camera modes. And there is a lot more to it, of course, which we are going through. But this is like the basics of the basic. And if I'm, you can see, Rambot isn't spawned. So I can just click left control. And now I'm suddenly driving the croquette. So it doesn't have automated, I don't think it has automated stabilization like that. So it's I don't remember actually, whatever. It seems to be working pretty well enough so I can move around and fly this thing. And the moment I click left control again, I'm no longer driving it. If I click left control, I am. But I may want to click tab to, lock onto the nice camera. And we're driving it here by just clicking left control once. And when I am clicking when I'm clicking left mouse button, even if I'm driving it, I'm just going away here, and then I automatically stop driving it, right? So we're going to drive it here. There we go. And if I now click right mouse button, you can see that we are actually controlling these weapons. So then we can actually move in here and aim the guns somewhere and just click left mouse button and we are shooting. And caps lock like before. Now we're just gonna shoot again. If you click caps lock once, you will follow a bullet, just like it was before. It's what it does, right? So then we'll just, get back to this one here. We can also, you can see here, I'm not driving this thing. I'm not driving this thing. I can still, while on this construct, right click and control the weapons only instead. So you can let the AI drive and you can stay on the guns. Very handy. Also, basically these menus are just operatable if you are using, the middle mouse button free cam mode too. So you can just with your cursor click on things. It basically works the same. It's of course very, very not handy if you are having multiple monitors. So yeah, but at least you can, if you think it's useful, you can use a lot of the basically real-time strategy type of control a little bit more, which is pretty cool, I guess, since the game does that too. Now, if you perhaps don't have a keypad, not everyone has a full-size keyboard. So in that case, you can actually, in the middle mouse button mode, use this here. So you can see here, I can click this thing, camera control mode, click on it, construct control mode. So now we are automatically, driving this thing. So I can hide the camera controls here by clicking on it. And I'm, of course, now, the only thing I'm doing is I'm in middle mouse button mode. You can see when you click this thing, it appears a tiny gray border around the screen, so you can easily see you are in that mood. Pretty handy. By the way, when we're driving a vehicle actively, you'll see a weird green
like shade, vignette. I don't quite remember how that's supposed to be pronounced, but it's this green fade thing. And when you like click your guns here, you are going to do that too. And the really cool thing here is that you can actually shoot your guns from this mode, which is super weird. If you don't want to aim like this, you can actually just lock the camera. You just hold middle mouse button, right? And you'll aim to this position. You can just click and shoot like this. I don't know. I actually think that's pretty cool, but yeah. So there we have it. And when you're controlling the guns, you may notice this little red shade down here telling you that you have that mode activated. So yeah, if you don't have a keypad, that's fine too. You can of course rebind the keys, but you can just control them from down here too. Good to know. So now we are just in free cam mode. You can see find a construct to drive says a little text in the upper left corner. So we'll click on the read class and you can see the camera right here, right? So, you know, we can just move this camera point by using WASD and just find a point. We find that this would be a better like default point. Maybe like here would be a better default point of controlling the craft, right? So if I like this point, I'm gonna have this as my default camera point for this vehicle. I'm going to hold control and I'm gonna click tab. Now this is the new camera point, we can move around here, I don't know, click tab, move out of free cam mode, click on this again, we're now snapped to this position. This is what we're using. So now we can suddenly, use the guns in a much better way. We can have a proper little broadside here and just shooting at, doing some friendly fire, some, friendly bantering. No, that's not actually acceptable. Anyways, we have to be a little bit careful though, because now we have this as a nice camera point, and you might move out of here and, okay, whatever. I'm gonna have like free cam mode. You might imagine this is some kind of free cam mode because it's kind of free-ish, and you'd like accidentally control tab this area, and then you'll just click away and you don't know what you're doing, and then you're going back to it and oh, you actually accidentally updated the camera position to this thing because you had it selected, right? You shouldn't have had it selected, but you did. So now you can see this is, if I click Control Tab now and I go to it, weird. Control Tab over here, and if I click, oh, I'm locked here. So that's like, even though you may believe you're in free cam mode, you might have it selected. So the last vehicle you used basically seems to be updated its camera position whenever you Control Tab. So then you'll have to, move back and just set it anew again, and then it's all fine. Like that. And if you're like, I can't move around and change my camera point, then it's probably because you're driving the vehicle. So you'll need to stop driving the vehicle. And when you have stopped driving the vehicle, you may indeed set up your camera point. And remember, it's whatever you're orbiting. So if I, for example, want to have a camera point that's basically behind the wheel here, the ship's wheel, that's fine too. And now it locked on top of it because it didn't want to be inside a vehicle. And you can actually set it up to be that. And you might want to have a lot of different cameras for a vehicle. So that we're going to set up. So basically, numpad 8, or if you don't have that button, just remember you can use the middle mouse button. There is a little menu here. And here we have the camera focus points for this vehicle. Now it's a little bit weird. Here you can see use shared camera positions and custom, and you might believe that, oh, that's really handy. Then I can set up a center of mass cam for each vehicle and that for that and that, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't work like that. Custom camera positions is you as single player. Shared camera position is whatever any other player saves or whatever, you know. This is really useless. I don't like that, but whatever. That's that's how it is. So here we have the camera position. It has some data. We're going to have inside as a name. We can name them here, right? And then we have an orbit distance. So we're going to have this at a orbit distance of 0 because this is of course inside the ship. Now you can see we have this little button here. Adjust maintain point above skin of the hull. So this basically is the thing that made us go above it like this. So we'll uncheck that, and then we can still like move around a little bit here. You see, if we want to, and we can even like move or rotate the camera position. Then we have like yaw and pitch of the camera point, and that's going to be relative to the vehicle. So we can set it to 0 like that. And if we click escape, that camera point should be now saved at a better location. But we need to, of course, move back here. So we'll just go down and set it up as a 0 orbit right here. You can just control like that, control and tab, and we have it here. So now we have set up this nice camera position. If we click on this, we're suddenly inside the ship. And you may have noticed we can add new camera positions here, which is very handy. So if we, for example, go somewhere in this menu here, and perhaps we want to have a kind of regular overview cam, then we can do like this. We can add a new camera position. We can click here. We have some different cool things. We can relocate to center of mass. Nice. You can uncheck that. And then we can adjust maintain point above the skin of the hull, which is above it here. So then we are here. And then we can, you know, just remove this menu here. And now we're controlling the new camera point because that's the one we set up. You can even see down here what camera positions we are editing. So then we can just move until we have a nice little overview area, and we can just select, I think we want the camera here. So we just clicked Control Tab and it has been updated. So now when we go inside of here, we can see we have inside and we have this one. So we should name it just a little bit over like that. We can select if we want inside or over to be default, we can change that there. Now there is no easy way to switch between the points inside of here. We have to use the buttons for that. So we're gonna just set up the over one here. And we can have this cool thing here. We can disable roll, a little bit cool. So if we disable roll, we won't see that turning up. Now, we can also set it to be above water so that this camera doesn't go below water in case the boat tilts or whatever like that. We still have a nice little overhead thing. Now, we do have stabilized roll too, but, you know, very handy. And again, if you're a little bit unhappy, maybe like here you can see I set it up in a wrong angle like that. You can just, you know, zoom out. Maybe we want to have a little bit of orbit. We want kind of this view as the main. Well then, just make sure we are controlling the over is good. Control Tab, like that. While I'm not a big fan of this, you can do this thing which can be pretty cool here. If you want to change and like really set up the cameras, you can decrease the size of this menu here. And you can click on the camera point you want to change here. So, for example, I'll just, you know, scroll out with my middle mouse button, and I can hold the middle mouse button to rotate. Just how we works with basically anything that is mimics and stuff like that. And up here we have move and rotate. So you can see this camera point needs to be a little bit to this side. Yep. A little bit forwards. All right. And we can then go to rotate and we can make sure it is right. So then we have that, very nice. If we go to this point here, we can click on it. Now you can see that the over here, it's a little bit weird like this. So we can put it straight like we want it. And, you know, basically like that. We of course need to save it here. So we'll just go and find this camera, set it to an angle that it's supposed to be on. And sometimes, I think it's, you know, it's an alpha. Sometimes the camera points act up and they just don't work. Remove the camera points and then you'll get the fresh one, right? And then you can set up that one as you like, just like that. Apply to camera and we go to it works. And if you want a nice little angle, a nice little orbit like this, Control Tab, you'll have it there. Next time you click on it, you see you got that angle there. So there are lots of weird things you can do here. So we can even add like another type of camera point. Like for example, if we add a camera point that's basically some kind of, I don't know, overhead view of the ship, we can actually do that. I don't know, maybe like this. We can just add a new camera point. This became weird. I'm just gonna remove it. So then we just go upwards like this, and I think we're gonna have an orbit type like this. Add new camera point. So we have a weird point here. So we can like do things like disable roll, disable pitch, disable jaw like that. And yeah, we can apply that to this camera. And now we basically have two different cameras here. So if we go here, we can go to this usual type of camera here. We can even drive it and control the guns here. And if we want to, we can suddenly get to this little overhead camera. That's basically just locking on, looking downwards on the ship if you want to. And you might wonder, to access here, you can access the menu on 8. If you use 7 or 9, you go to the next or the previous camera on the vehicle. And of course, do select the camera that makes the most sense to be the default camera, right? And you'll just do that by switching to that camera. Clicking 8 here is default, apply to camera. And then when you go around to somewhere else, go to this, you go back here, and here we have it. This is the default camera. And you know, I just said that 7 and 9, you can switch to different cameras on the vehicle. If you instead use 1 and 3, you can switch to different cameras to different vehicles. Just going back and forth like this. And this thing is of course a little bit of a hassle because it moves around like this. So we can make this a little bit stable. Remove pitch, yes please. Remove roll, yes please. And well, jaw can be good to have, but it's like optional. So for example, maybe we want to have a like this, that's center of mass, no jaw, orbit 100 meters, very nice. We apply that to this camera. Then we may want to duplicate this thing. And we go to that camera. So now of course, we can, when we're on this vehicle, when we are controlling it, like this, we can switch between the different cameras. And then we can select one of them here and say that no, we're actually going to have a skin of the hull here above it. We are not going to ignore jaw. We are indeed not. And we are just going to apply that to the camera. I'm going to go a little bit closer, like that. And this is the default here. So now we can switch between a camera here and a camera there. Hey, this isn't set up. Yeah, that probably doesn't. It's an alpha build, you know. So then we'll just do this again. This is not default. This is just zoomed out like this. Very nice. Relocate to center of mass. And yeah, there we have that camera. Apply. Now we can switch to this one and this one. So very handy. And 7 and 8 again. So we have a zoomed out little version that just keeps locked. Very easy to maneuver like that. Of course, less good if you want to actually control this jet, then it's going to be a little bit difficult. Now, this doesn't have a vehicle controller, so I can't control it. So that's not even a thing. But I can fire its weapons, as you may see. So I can still do that. And then, of course, it can be good to have different types of, yeah. Now, there are also some really weird things we can do here. If you go into the camera menu, this is the weird mode, and we can actually do like this. Disable no firing mode adjustments. We can maintain loss, I don't know. Look, anyways, maintain line of sight. We can do that by unrendering the vehicle. So if we have blocked our line of sight, which is always right now because we're inside it, we can even do maintain loss by creating a tunnel. This is super weird. So then we can like peek through the vehicle. I don't know, this is weird, but yeah, probably better like that. But there we have it. Now we can switch between these ones. One of them is default, and if we click 1 and 3 instead, we just switch between different vehicles' main camera, which is pretty nice. Now, there is a little cool thing too. You know, I said to you to set up smooth mode. If you go and activate smooth mode, it's like, you know, Minecraft's smooth looking mode like this. It's really smooth, good for cinematic stuff, especially when you're like doing some zoomed in stuff here. It's a little bit dreamy, a little bit slow, easier to control. And then you can just turn it off like that. So that is unbinded from default, so that you'll need to bind, just so you keep that in mind. Now, if we move to another vehicle like this one, and we, for example, I don't know, maybe you want to have a zoomed in mode, and you just add it, and you like hold Control and click Tab to save this new position, and you just go to previous vehicle, nice. You go to this one, it's like, oh, the zoom didn't work. No, it doesn't work. The orbit doesn't, you know, does save, right? So the orbit setting saves, but not the zoom levels. So if you have the zoom, the like digital zoom, it doesn't work. So maybe you can have an orbit like this. Control, Tab. So it's orbit 100 meters basically. If you move to this, move back, you can have the same like zoomed out level or look if you use the orbit mode, but not the camera. So you can perhaps put a point here or something if you want it not orbiting, but instead just straight here. Update it, go here, go there. You can see now it's not orbiting. Now the camera point is actually up here in the sky. So there's some different choices you can do, but just so you know, orbit levels, they will save, zoom levels will not. Number 2 on the pad does the same thing like Control. They're actually the same button right now. So I guess it's just a shortcut, and it may be changed in the future, but you know. So you can switch easily to different cameras like that, or just go free cam mode, switch between them pretty easily. Very nice. Yep, there we go. Anyways, now we're going to go to the next little step here. And that is the really weird like tracking mode. So for example, if I click 4 and 6, I will actually track different vehicles. I can track this one, can track this one, can track this one. We're gonna track this one because it's the easiest one to track. So if I'll just click number 5, it actually clears the target, so you can see. And if we just do like that, okay, it's now saved. So now we're tracking this target, right? Very handy. I don't know if we want that. You can track this here. You can track some different stuff. And if we change cameras, the tracking mode goes away there. So you can just 4 or 6, if you want to track whatever you want to track, you can just click 4 or 6. You're gonna clear it, you can click 5, or just change to camera to another vehicle. You'll track it, you'll no longer. But for example, if we go on this thing, we start tracking this, and we change different cameras on the same vehicle, the tracking will still be online, you know? And you can clear that. You remember we had something called not camera won't be underwater. We can set it up here. Keep above water. So if I try to look downwards here, I can no longer, because this camera is now set to don't go underwater if the vehicle point is over water. So if you want to, for example, be able to use these guns here, I'm just gonna control these vehicles and use these guns to really shoot down ships, airships or whatever, and not lose your the field of view, right? It can be a good idea to set that thing, because if you uncheck this, you know, it will be like this instead, and you might not want to watch through the waters to aim your guns. Good to know. So one of the most important takeaways you should take from this: if your camera is weird, Control Tab, update it. You can have different cameras on different vehicles, very nice. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 3 rather, you switch between different ones. And on 4 or 6, you can choose to track a target if you want to. So, obviously, we need to test this fighting some vehicles to make this really thorough. And I know this guide may be a little bit long-winded, sorry about that, but I kind of felt that I needed probably this tutorial because I have been researching how to use my game controls now for a couple of hours, so I thought it could be a good idea to maybe at least share this knowledge to anyone that is interested and don't want to do that experimentation. I don't know, maybe that's you. If that's you, you should like the video. In any case, just to recap, we are now on this thing here. We can set up a camera point very easily, and we should in this time set it up like more properly, because we know kind of what we want for this. We don't want the tank blocking us here, so we'll need to unclick this skin thing like that. Move the camera point down here, so you can probably look at it like this. We should probably have an orbit distance that's pretty far away. Roll and pitch should be removed here, but not jaw. And this should then be applied to the camera. Now you can also set up the rotation by using these buttons on the top or below, if you want to have another rotation than straightforward. And that's the best way to set up just this thing here for this particular one. And of course, just Control Tab if it's not very important exactly where you want to have that. So yeah. Anyways, now we can spawn an enemy. Most sensibly, we should have a smaller fleet of marauders, because that makes a lot of sense. We're gonna spawn them. And I'm going to take control of my guns here. And I can zoom in or zoom out. And now you can see we are almost blocking our sight a little bit. But to not suffer that problem, we can just zoom in and just click. There we go. And now, of course, it would be nice to lock on. Oh yeah, exactly. Lock on. So we're going to use our different keys. There we go. Now we are locked onto this marauder. So we may only just point and click. We don't even need this aiming mode here. Because if we're just locked onto it,
Engaging now.
yeah, we can just click like this instead. Another way to do combat. Now, it's not quite my preference, but yeah. So, by the way, the locking mode, we're locked like this, but obviously it can be a little bit practical to not use this type of mode and then, you know, the locking the way you might expect it to work might not work that way. Anyways, From the Depth is suddenly feeling a lot more like World of Warships or something, and I kind of like it because I never really got into War of Worlds. No, I can't even speak. Whatever. I didn't even get into it properly, but yeah. Oh, I forgot this one. Adjust loss by moving camera forwards. We can add that. So, if we're aiming something and we're blocking ourselves, we can just aim it at that direction. And if we're blocking the view, the camera will just teleport forwards so that it's not visible anymore. And that's also one little thing I almost forgot here. So if we do a little Shift G and spawn in the poor Rambot, or a person crammed inside of it, we have of course the additional camera to lock to here. Now, if you click 0, you will clear the camera you're using, and then you can just add to this thing and you will lock onto it. Anyways, I'm going to right click so we are no longer controlling the guns. And I'm going to be Rambot here. So, when we walk around here and be Rambot, you will notice that we don't need any Hearthstone to live. But when we fire our guns, you can see we're firing some guns here. And Hearthstone is going down. So, the Rambot is no longer infinitely powerful. Hearthstone doesn't kill you right now, it kind of just makes it so that you can't shoot your weapons, which I suppose is annoying enough. We can't even reload here, so I guess we'll have to reload to be able to reload Hearthstone to be able to continue using it. Yeah, but very optional, very disposable, poor Rambot. Yeah, so I don't really know if this is exactly what you wanted to. I will admit that this tutorial is perhaps a little bit longer than was my intention, but hopefully you don't need to spend any hour working out how to use the camera now, and we'll just have a smooth sailing from here on. Now, the camera is a little bit shaky and a little bit weird, and I'm sure it will be a little bit better in the future as it is being updated. But this is what we got right now, and I must say I'm pretty impressed. It's nicer than it was before, and that's really one good thing. I just want to say huge thanks for everyone who is supporting the channel. We had some new Patreons that joined. Basically, that is commissioned officers in the army of GMODISM. So, big thanks to you guys that are supporting the channel. You can see it on top of the screen here. I just posted all of the supporters there And down in below the video, there should be a little rooster of some channel members, and they get early access to most videos, except this one, because it was recorded and uploaded directly. Yeah, that happens too. But otherwise, it's early access for them. So that's really nice. Different perks for the different support systems. Yeah, maybe that doesn't make sense, but there we have it. Well, at least the guide is thorough, so that's at least something, I hope, right? Yeah, but how do you like my temporary, like my mic solution? I think it works pretty well, you know? It looks nice too. Tell me in the comments. Anyways, I did catch a little cold before, so that's finally over, but that's a little reason why we didn't have a stream recently. I, during this recording, like panic pause the recording every time I need to cough, because that is still remaining a little bit. Just because I said it. So that's why I felt I wouldn't want to put you through that during a stream. Anyways, that will be back, of course. Apparently, we can actually stream a little bit to YouTube, but Twitch will be main. So I checked the rules, and they changed the guides. Even though I'm an affiliate, I can now also restream to YouTube, basically. There are some limitations. I can't combine the YouTube chat. So if I'll stream on Twitch and also restream it to YouTube, I'll try to keep track on the YouTube chat. But yeah, if I'm basically not focusing on the chat for the Twitch, I'm basically breaking the Teams of Service rules, whatever things. So good to know that I can stream to both platforms at the same time in future. So I'm trying to set that up so it actually works, and then we can do that. So for people that really just don't use Twitch, there is that option too. But keep in mind that if there are very many people commenting at once, I may not have the same ability to engage with the YouTube chat also. So that's the downside. It's not to be mean or anything. It's just that they're not allowing me. Like, you can't combine the chats without breaking their rules. And, you know, I don't want to get banned. So that's, you know, their rules, their platform. Anyways, as said before, huge thanks to everyone who is supporting the channel, and of course not only on Patreon and YouTube membership, but also liking the videos and sharing them and leaving comments and watching to the end. Stuff like that that really helps the algorithm find people to show this video to, basically. So, as is customary, I will read out the most high-ranking ones. Commodore Owen, Commander Morden, Lieutenant Anto, Cravey, Flaws Dragon, Parbag Reed, Vincent Veritas, Rick Proel, and Scoobrocks. In any case, huge thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. You can watch some cool other From the Depth content on the GMODISM channel too, where all the VODs are, by the way, if you missed that. Some time ago, we did a little Q&A, and if you want to watch that little Q&A session, well, that is on the GMODISM channel, and maybe a question you really wonder is already answered over there. Leave anything in the comments if you have any questions. Otherwise, leave comments for the algorithm if you want to, and of course, becoming a member in the ecclesiarchy of the Empire of GMODISM, or a commissioned officer in the army of GMODISM. Cringe, I know, but it's fun. You can support the channel those ways too. In any case, huge thanks for the 3 persons that are actually watching this end, because, yeah, you can tell it was some time ago I did a recording. I'm too excited to say very many words, so there you have it. See you next time. This is your host, Eric of GMODISM, signing out. For real, this time.